Hello everyone and welcome back to the Mascoutin Valley Railroad. Today we're going to be taking a tour of my 20 by 40 foot HO scale layout. We're going to be taking a Chicago Northwestern observation train from Pine River Junction, which is essentially one end of the layout, all the way to the engine terminal on the other side of the railroad. The portion of the railroad that I'm modeling is in the Menominee Iron Range, focusing on an old Chicago Northwestern line between Antoine, Michigan and Powers, Michigan. I'm having the railroad span multiple decades so that way I can run prototype operations with the Chicago Northwestern in the 1970s and have my Mascoutin Valley Railroad take over the operations in the 1980s. So today we're going to be taking a run around the layout. We have our Chicago Northwestern observation train set up here as we go through our first town. Our first stop on the tour is Pine River Junction. Pine River Junction is home to one rail-served customer, which is Pine River Wood Products. The customer gets about 4 to 5 cars per operating session. So it is a fairly large player on our layout. Pine River Junction also has a depot which is modeled based on a Chicago Northwestern trailer depot. And then the other notable scene here is the bog scene at Pine River Junction, which was my first attempt at modeling water on a railroad. Into our next town of Hermansville, Michigan. You'll notice that we will have a diamond here in this town where we cross the Sioux line and have an interchange with the Sioux, as well as get some trackage rights down to an industry here in Hermansville called Wisconsin Land and Lumber. It was a industry that was not switched out by the Sioux line, but switched out by the Chicago Northwestern. The Northwestern would gain access to the Sioux line and then end up switching out the lumber mill. One of the other notable scenes that will be here at Hermansville will be the big causeway at Hermansville Lake. The next town that we come into is the town of Waucedah, Michigan. Now, if you were to look at a map, there's not much there at Waucedah. However, we do have a very large siding for ore trains to pass our locals as they do their work. We also have the Laredo Sand and Gravel Pit, which is a rail-served customer. And then I've taken the modeler's license to add in a pulpwood spur/team track here on the other side of the siding here at Waucedah. The next area that we come to is Norway, Michigan. So you'll notice as we come around the corner here that Norway has a Land O'Lakes co-op that is rail served. And it is also has a grocer's warehouse, which gets boxcars from the Chicago Northwestern. The operation in Norway is a bit interesting as you have to navigate a switchback in town to essentially switch out all the industries. And then we're also going to have a number 2 Chicago Northwestern depot here at Norway as well. I want to take a second to talk about the Broadway Limited Chicago Northwestern track inspection car, which is the name of the Fox River that I'm pulling on today's train. This thing is incredible. From the detail on the body, from the grab irons to the paint, everything is clean and crisp. But the thing that really brings it home for me is the lighting effects. Being able to see inside the interior with the big observation window in the back, and then to have the inspection lights also come on the bottom, as well as the drum head with the Chicago Northwestern lit up at the back is also a really cool touch. If you can find these things available today, I would suggest picking them up. I got mine for $130, I think is what they're going for right now. It's worth every penny in my opinion. Really cool car by Broadway Limited. The next part of the layout that we're going to be encountering is the Sturgeon River area. Sturgeon River has a pulpwood siding or spur that we're going to be servicing out here. It takes 2 to 3 cars. But the big draw here at Sturgeon River is the bridge scene. So Chicago Northwestern fans may recognize this bridge as the James River Bridge in Huron, South Dakota. This model was originally built by Dennis Eggert, an avid Chicago Northwestern modeler, and he was getting rid of the portion of the layout that had this structure on it, and he said, hey, I know you modeled Northwestern, do you want to grab it? And I said, of course. I have the perfect spot to incorporate it on the layout. So now Dennis's work still lives on here on my railroad, as it's going to be one of my signature scenes on the layout. As the train exits the Sturgeon River area, you'll notice that it will enter and exit a tunnel. This tunnel leads to the Antoine, Michigan side of the staging yard. The staging yard is a drive-through yard that also has the capability to be operated like a real classification yard. As trains come in to the yard, they'll be brought in through an arrival or a departure track, dropped off, and then broken down. Meanwhile, the power will head off to the engine facility on the other side of the aisle. As the inspection train ends its journey here at the engine terminal, I want to ask all of my viewers out there to consider subscribing to the channel so they don't miss any future layout updates on the Mascoutin Valley Railroad. I want to thank everyone for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.